As I also stated yesterday, nobody's texting war.
Terrorist is at his known location, so should be on time. Also, strike drones launch MQ-9.
No one outside of D.C. and in the news business really cares about this story. There's no video, there's no sex, there's no fraud. No one even knows what a Houthi is.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
If you're wondering how the folks over at Fox News are dealing with a disaster that if it were to have happened under Joe Biden, well, we'd be on the 24th straight hour of Laura Ingraham making this face as she calls for the reopening of Guantanamo to place all those responsible in. But since it happened under Trump, well, here's Olympic-level verbal gymnast Jesse Waters making the case that the American people just don't really care about national security or the well-being of U.S. soldiers as a whole.
It's like Goldberg will sometimes send out fake names with a contact with their cells to deceive politicians. Wall says Elon and Big Balls are on the case. This wouldn't surprise me if Goldberg sneaked his way in. He's the lowest of the low. Well, this is like Trump throws 20 touchdowns in a row and he finally throws a pick six. And that's what everybody wants to talk about. And the only way you get people to stop talking about it is you throw another touchdown. Now, I don't know what that's going to look like, but he's got to throw another touchdown and he's got to throw it fast. No one outside of D.C. and in the news business really cares about this story. There's no video, there's no sex, there's no fraud. No one even knows what a Houthi is. People know who bin Laden is. People know what ISIS is. No one knows what a Houthi is.
After news broke yesterday that the Trump administration officials accidentally shared sensitive military plans with the Atlantic editor Jeffrey Goldberg, not only were the reactions from the Trump administration so bad that even champions of the right-wing douche brigade had no choice but to chug a Celsius and speak on the matter.
This is what we're here to do. Nobody's texting war plans. Well, I noticed this morning out came something that doesn't look like war plans. And as a matter of fact, they even changed the title to attack plans because they know it's not war plans. There's no units, no locations, no routes, no flight paths, no sources, no methods, no classified information. You know who sees war plans? I see them. Every single day. I looked at them this morning. I looked at attack plans this morning.
In this new administration, you want to take accountability. Trump, you may love Michael Waltz. You love Pete Hesketh. You may love these guys. Somebody has to go down. To me, it's Michael Waltz. He's the one who added him to this conversation. But you can't have the top of the top security people in the United States with the most sensitive information in the world adding random editors of a magazine that hates Trump's guts to a group chat talking about an attack before it happens on a terrorist group. You can't poo-poo it. You can't downplay it. You have to sit up there and be like, holy shit, this is a fuck up of epic proportions. There will be accountability. I will get to the bottom of this. And frankly, I think I don't like calling for people's heads. Michael Waltz, it seems like you're the guy who added him to the group chat. You have to lose your job. You should step down.
If you were to listen to the president's response during his press conference, after he was briefed on the thing he had no idea happened just days ago, it's more deflection, more attacking the source, more lying, which both he and those he's hired have been doing since the news broke.
But I don't think they're quite. I don't think they're quite.
Classified that was shared?
Say it.
Do you still believe nothing classified was shared?
Well, that's what I've heard. I don't know. I'm not sure. You'll have to ask the various people involved. I really don't know. Well, they're spending $500 billion. Okay. Any other?
On the Signal chat, Senator Roger Wicker.
Hold on one second.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And the thing is, the line is enabled by Rupert Murdoch's prized megaphone as hosts across the board do everything possible to deflect blame from their fearless cult leader. Like this example in which host Will Cain thought it would be a good idea to lecture a former Army Ranger turned congressman on whether he cares about national security or not. And well, here's how that panned out for him.
The details. So if the Houthis knew about that, they could have shot him down.
Congressman, I and everybody watching know the details. The difference between your position and mine is that nobody on my side of the aisle is pretending protection. I'm not. I'm certainly not. Pretending perfection.
No, the
administration
hold on.
No, hold on. The difference is the administration has admitted a mistake. You are demanding the type of accountability in resignations that you never did when, yes, and apples and oranges things happen that result in the death of 13 Marines. And I have to tell you, that reveals to me, you don't have real national security concerns. You see this as a partisan political opportunity. That's what that lack of consistency says to me.
Will, I have spent my life in service to this country. I have taken the oath of office, which you have never taken, by the way, to put my life on the line to defend this country. And I went to a war in Iraq. I went to a war in Afghanistan twice. I have stood up time and time again to defend this nation. And I've seen my friends give their lives for this country. So do not tell me that I don't have real national security concerns. And I will not, every single night before I go to bed, every night, ask myself one simple question. Am I keeping faith with the men and women who I have a solemn obligation to keep faith? Our sons, our daughters, our brothers, our sisters that we're asking right now, where we're sitting here in the comfort of our offices and under the Capitol Dome to go and fight for us.
I gotta leave it.
Are we keeping faith for them?
Congressman,
that is the simple question all of us must ask.
This is where I'm going to leave it.
General Cruz, are you familiar with this system?
I'm not wearing my glasses at the moment, but...
Well, I'll help you out. This is an SA-3 anti-aircraft system.
I'm going to have to ask you...
It's an SA-6.
I'm going to guess that...
This is also an advanced anti-aircraft system, is it not?
It is. It was used widely in the Balkans in the 90s, correct?
And the Houthis also have this system, don't they?
They certainly do.
And they've employed it against our aircraft, have they not?
They have attempted to, correct.
I spent my life in service to this country. I deployed 3 times to combat in service to this nation. I learned in that time in service that responsibility is core to leadership. You accept responsibility when things go wrong. You admit mistakes. You set the standard from the very top. It is completely outrageous to me that administration officials come before us today with impunity.
Of course, what's a Fox News spin cycle without 4 out of the 5 on the 5, pretending that this isn't an issue at all, while simultaneously reverting back to Hillary's emails, which they of course spent Obama tan suit level hours covering.
And they accidentally leaked something to the media instead of
They didn't leak
the
it, they
Democrats
invited him in.
actually leaking classified information to the media, Jessica.
No.
All right? At least they didn't homebrew a server and acid wash it. But her emails, I just did it.
Mar-a-Lago toilets, and they invited him in.
Mar-a-Lago toilets?
Yeah,
What are you talking
where
about?
the national security secrets that were
This is a
subpoenaed.
family show, Jessica. Clean it up.
Can we just stick with the topic today?
Donald Trump's ratings on handling the economy, inflation, cost of living are all tanking. And we're seeing this administration's incompetence and recklessness on a scale unimaginable. I'm sure you guys saw this incredible Jeffrey Goldberg piece from right before we got on air a couple years ago about Goldberg, who is a journalist at The Atlantic, being invited into a private Signal chat with all of our national security heads. So Rubio, Hegseth, Waltz, Tulsi Gabbard, Scott Bessent's in there, et cetera. And they are planning on just Signal to drop bombs in Yemen. So they're not doing this in a skiff. They're doing it on an app that you and I, we all have on our phones. And it's obviously incredibly reckless, national security risks. I don't want to ever hear but her emails again. I don't know what's going to happen to anyone who's involved in something like this. But on top of it, you have the vice president. He's in there as well, contradicting Donald Trump on his policy on Europe. So all of this is going on. We're only a couple months into this administration. And when Carville says, let's see what they do, you get stuff like this.
Now, because it's an indictment of the Trump administration, it's no biggie, but it is a biggie. It's a massive fuck up no matter how you try and spin it.
And to see this administration claiming that it cares about competence and merit, and then be responsible for an epic fuck up like this, demonstrates that these are not serious people. I was an intelligence officer for about 7 years in the U.S. Navy Reserve, and I occasionally handled highly classified information during my time in the cabinet as well. It can be hard to explain just how much goes into keeping that information safe. It is only available to people with a security clearance and a need to know. It's only discussed in certain facilities that are hardened to make sure that they don't have the same vulnerability to surveillance as most places. And importantly, you only ever use classified systems to discuss classified information.
Yeah, we've all sent the wrong text, the misplaced email now and again, but we're not all in the war cabinet. We don't all have top-level security clearances. Our mishaps don't risk the lives of those putting their lives on the line for this country. So yeah, there needs to be accountability, something that Trump and his cult followers feel that they're just exempt from.
And would not information about the timing of airstrikes allow a military to pre-position or cue air defense systems to shoot down enemy aircraft?
I think, Senator, from our perspective, any advance warning is something that we certainly are trying to protect.
Yeah. Director Radcliffe, this was a huge mistake, correct?
No.
A national political...
Hold on.
No, you
Let me
hold
answer.
on. No, Director
The
Radcliffe, I asked you a yes or no question, and now you'll hold on. A national political reporter
you can characterize it how you want.
Was made privy to sensitive information about imminent military operations against a foreign terrorist organization.
Mistake of adding a reporter,
and that wasn't a huge mistake. That wasn't a huge mistake.
Well, I think they characterize it as an embarrassment.
This is utterly unprofessional. There's been no apology. There has been no recognition of the gravity of this error. And by the way, we will get the full transcript of this chain, and your testimony will be measured carefully against its content. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
But the thing is, it's not going to happen. This exemplifies this administration's incompetence and recklessness on a scale that even those of us who warned against the impending disaster of Trump 2.0 couldn't have predicted.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.